This tiny piece of plastic can give you a world of responsibility. It's called a driver's license. With this driver's license, you are allowed to operate a motor vehicle. Operating a motor vehicle comes with its own set of responsibilities. One of those is the choice to drive impaired or not. In my opinion, impaired driving is bad and it shouldn't happen. It doesn't take a lot to become impaired, and when you're operating something like a motor vehicle, it becomes increasingly dangerous to drive even a little impaired. According to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, in 2010, 2,541 people were killed in motor vehicle accidents. 1,082 of these motor vehicle accidents were impairment related. In my opinion, drunk driving or impaired driving is bad and something that shouldn't happen. It doesn't take a lot to become impaired, and you can impact yourself and a lot of other people through your impaired driving. We've all done things in our life that we probably shouldn't have, that were stupid or silly or even illegal. But that doesn't make them okay. It just makes them things that we've done. I think that drunk driving or impaired driving is one of those things that shouldn't be done. They're one of those things that most of us who consume alcohol have probably done once or twice before in our lives, and have just smiled and been happy that we got away with it. But I think when it all comes down to it, it's something that we just shouldn't do. It can cause accidents and it can cause a huge impact on yourself and other people. But the main question is why? Why would you drive impaired? Today we have many different services that can help keep you from having to drive impaired, whether it be a taxi, staying over at a friend's house, a hotel room, or even just a designated driver. No longer are we restricted by what we can do to keep ourselves from driving impaired. It also doesn't take that much to become impaired. When you look at this can, it's not that big. Small, 355 milliliters. Inside that can is 5% alcohol. But if you take that 5% alcohol when you have an empty stomach, or even prescription, over-the-counter, or illegal drugs with that 5% alcohol, suddenly it becomes a death trap. You can become impaired very quickly, and when it all comes down to it, nothing but time can change how impaired you are. There are lots of things going around, like drinking coffee or eating something, or any of those things can help reduce your level of impairment. But once you reach the level of impaired, there is nothing you can do but wait to fix that. Impaired driving can also affect others in a huge way. If you drive impaired, you risk the chance of hurting not only yourself, but other people. And when it comes down to it, could you live with yourself if you had hit or killed a family with young children, even an older couple who had lived a long life? Impaired driving can affect many people, and it's up to you to make the choice on whether or not you want to be responsible for that. You could kill someone, you could cripple someone, and you could hurt yourself. You could change your own life in an instant just because you insisted on driving home impaired instead of calling a friend, a taxi, or staying the night. Do you want to be held responsible for doing those things to someone else, or doing them even just to yourself? When we're given a driver's license, we accept the responsibility of being responsible drivers and being responsible in our motor vehicles. They are powerful machines that can do a lot of damage if that's who is behind the wheel has in mind. I think that drunk driving or impaired driving is something bad. We have the choice. The keys are in our hand. We can either drive drunk or we can find some way to get home other than that. I think that it's important for us to make the proper choice when it comes to this and choose the safe way. Choose a friend, choose a cab, choose to stay the night. The money you'll be out, or the grumpy friend for having to be the sober one that night, will be more than worth it when it comes to the fact that you kept yourself and others safe because you chose to hand over your keys instead of driving impaired. I hope that when it all comes down to it, we can all choose to drive sober and safe and leave the impaired driving to no one.